It's just a bunch of rectangles. And the rectangles broke me. They broke me. Hi there, Michelle here, also known as Fancy Dinosaur Tea Party, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over everything that I have sewn in the last 7 months. Technically, it's like 6 months worth of sewing because I didn't sew in the last month, and even that is inaccurate because I think there was like maybe March I didn't sew anything. But anywho, I'm just going to go through everything that I have sewn over the course of 2022. Over the last week or two, I've noticed a lot of new subscribers, so if you're new here and you like sewing, obviously because you're watching the sewing video, crocheting, crafting, and thrifting, why not hit that subscribe button? Now, I have to say that in 2021, I was like sewing dresses like every week. I had a new dress. And then this summer, and I don't want to blame it on Stranger Things season 4 for coming out, but it's also kind of Stranger Things season 4 coming out that was the problem, that I decided I'm no longer into dresses and I just want to dress like Joyce Byers or a member from the Hellfire Club. So that's kind of what's going on in my fashion sense, and I have just not been gravitating towards dresses at all this year. And I do like dresses. I don't know, I just don't feel the need to wear them anymore. Mainly because, like, one, where I work, which is not here, I have to have another job in order to support this career of being a YouTuber. For now, anyways. That place, I can't really wear the dresses. I mean, I guess I could, but I just don't want to. And then I don't really go anywhere outside of work that I would require to wear something nice or to want to dress nice. I usually just go for drives to get my ice caps. And that's about it. So I've just kind of been wearing graphic tees. I've been really back into graphic tees. I don't think I have been this much into graphic tees since I think 2015. I think that was the last graphic tee phase before I started trying to go more like vintage, wear more nicer clothes. And then, yeah, I just spiraled back. Now I'm wearing this again. That being said, in the spring, I was kind of making a few really nice dresses because I'm like, I'm gonna wear dresses again. And then Stranger Things season 4 came out and I was like, right out the window. But anywho, let's go over everything that I have sewn over the last few months. Now, I am gonna go in order of when I made them. So the first thing I made, I think I want to say it was January, and that is this tapestry sweater out of a blanket. Yes, this is fantastic. I think I did a better job than I thought. Yes, there is some raw seams. I have still not dealt with that because I am waiting for a serger. And y'all should probably know that by now, that I'm not dealing with any raw hems until I get that. And I guess I know there is such thing as an overlock foot thingy for my sewing machine. I just don't feel like buying it. Maybe eventually in the future when I get a serger, I will be going over all these raw hems. Until then, it is what it is. I had made this out of a thrifted blanket. I think the blanket was like $13 and I bought it at Value Village, and I actually bought a tapestry blanket after that. It's over there. It has sunflowers on it, and I really want to make that a nice fall jacket, and it is August 1st, which means only one more month until fall. And yes, I know technically fall doesn't start until like what, September the 21st or the 22nd. I don't know, I feel like growing up it was always on the 21st and now it's always on the 22nd of the month. But anyways, I am waiting for fall so I can start wearing like this. Like, I haven't worn this in months due to the fact of being super hot outside. I want to make a jacket out of the sunflower blanket, which I probably should just get. This blanket here, yes, I just went to go grab it so I could show y'all if you don't remember it in a thrift haul that I did like months ago. I don't even remember it. And this one actually I think was a lot cheaper. I think this was under $10. I can't be certain, but I really want to make this into like a really cool jacket, very similar to my very first quilt coat that I made in 2021. OG followers might remember that. But anyways, I made a quilt coat out of a quilt. I kind of want to do the same thing to this, but I also have some coat patterns now that I can like use instead of making it up, because in the quilt coat video, kind of made it up and based it off of a sweater that I had. That's for that. Back to this one. I mainly bought it because there are cats on it, although like this color scheme isn't my favorite. Again, I am more of a warm tone, where this is more green and more cool tones, and I have nothing against the color green. Out of all the cool colors, green is my favorite, if that makes sense. Also, everything... Why are you being so loud today? Morty, you're being so loud while I'm filming. Who's a handsome boy? So I do want to point out that everything that I am showing you today, I have videos for, and I will be linking them in the description. What I ended up doing was I found this blanket, and then I also found a inexpensive crew neck sweater also at Value Village. But what I ended up doing was I cut the neck, I cut the bottom, and then I cut the cuffs, and then I just sewed them to the sweater when I was done like constructing the sweater. Also, like, this was really easy. And then I also used the sweater that I bought, cut it up into pieces, and used that as a pattern pattern to make this. The sweater is somewhere in my room in my pattern pieces, so I've kept that for, you know, future references. I've worn this a few times and I think there is a little bit of wear and tear, like down here. There's like a little bit of a hole. The tapestry blanket is kind of like unweaving itself. Maybe. And that again is what a serger would have been great, is that if I could have serged all the edges and then sewed them together and then serged them again, I think it would have held up a little bit better. But again, once I get a serger, what's gonna happen? Probably give this sweater probably an 8 out of 10. It fit pretty good. I really do like it. I just haven't had many opportunities to wear it. The next item that I made, you have probably either 1, have watched the video of me making it, or 2, have heard me complaining about it a lot on this channel, and that would be the picnic tablecloth dress that was just a disaster of a project. This dress right here. Now you might be like, hey Michelle, this dress is actually really cute. Why do you hate it so much? For many reasons. Many reasons. The fabric didn't even have to touch it and it would just fray and it would just become a mess. And for months later, I'd be picking up little balls of fuzz that kind of look like this all over my room. And one time it was in my hair. I made it way too big. And I know that's my own problem. I don't really know what size I am, and it was just a little too big. And the fact that I just don't want to bother touching this again is another reason why I haven't done anything. Back to the whole reason why I want a serger is that once I have a serger, I might take another try at this dress. If I were to take this apart again, it would just be a complete nightmare. So if I were to take it apart, I'd want to like run it through a serger like right away. I think that if it was a better material, it would have been a lot easier to do. And what sucks is that I put a poll on, I think, my Instagram, and I think I talked about it once on my TikTok about like, oh, should I pick this material or should I pick this blue material? And a lot of people were like, oh, pick the blue material. And I'm like, I'm not listening to y'all. I'm gonna go with this one because this one's cute. I should have listened to y'all and went with the other material because it would not have given me this much difficulty. It's just a bunch of rectangles, and the rectangles broke me. They broke me. This I give a 3. I'm sorry, I give it a 3, and the 3 is because I really like the pattern and I really like the color, but I don't think I'm gonna fix it in the near future. It's already August. I don't see myself getting a serger in the next month, unfortunately. If I were to wear it, it wouldn't be till the springtime. It's probably just not gonna be dealt with until then, if I even deal with it. The next item I have actually worn quite a lot and I really like it. That is this blouse here that I made out of a bed sheet. I really love the pattern, how I made it, but also the pattern print on the shirt itself. I love both of them. This is actually the clay blouse, and it is a free pattern that you can get on Mood Fabrics Society. I'll link the pattern and I'll link the video where I made this in the description if you are interested in seeing on how I did it. But this here, honestly, I really, really like it. It is a little bit oversized, but the way I wear it, because it is cropped, works perfectly for me, because if it was any longer, then I think it would billow out too much, but if it was any like smaller, I just don't think it would fit me as nice. I do like a looser fit in my clothes. I hate it when it's too tight. It's just too constricting, and then when it gets hot, and then you just like, I hate everything. So this here, I actually give probably a 9 out of 10, just because there are a few little things that I need to like fix. The collar was my very first time, well, the second time I was putting a collar in. The first time I put a collar in was the quilt coat that I made last year, and that one I was kind of like making it up as I go along. So I need to get better at putting collars in, because I did have a little bit of difficulty like around here. And then like this is just the back. The back is literally just one continuous piece, and then the front is 2 pieces. And this is actually my very first project that I put buttons in something. For some reason, I thought buttons was going to be this like challenge. I thought it was going to be way more difficult than it is, and I didn't think it was that difficult, and I don't know why I thought it was that difficult. I think it was the buttonholes. I think that's what it is, but I did discover that I have a buttonhole maker that was from an old sewing machine that I got in like years ago, and I never used it till now. I love it. I love it so much. So once I learned how to use the buttonhole maker, putting buttons in things was not so scary anymore. I have worn a few times, kind of forgot I wore this because at the beginning of the summer, I was very much into the button-up blouses and old men's shirts like this, and and I'll mention it again, Stranger Things came out, and I'm like, I'm back into graphic tees. The next dress that I made was actually my very first dress that I've made from a vintage pattern. The patterns that I've used are more modern, and I'm like, I'm gonna switch it up and do a vintage pattern. I think the dress turned out pretty cute, although I have not worn it outside yet. It is this dress here. It is very long. This is like a prairie dress. I think that's what they called it. Also kind of like, I guess, a little bit like a pinafore. Very cute. It has the ruffles on the sides. I did put some pockets. One pocket is higher than the other because I didn't measure properly. This is made from a bedsheet, and what's so funny is that I keep finding this exact bedsheet at thrift stores. Well, I found it twice at 2 different thrift stores, so that's kind of weird. But anywho, the bottom is actually the top of the bedsheet. I'm not into dresses right now, and I wish I was because I made so many cute dresses, and I'm looking at them. They're over there in the corner. I made so many cute dresses. It's just, I'm not really into dresses right now. Maybe in the fall time, maybe next spring. I still like making them because this was probably the most complex pattern that I've made. It wasn't as difficult as I thought. A few things that I had problems, as you probably can see on the back, I have all this extra fabric. I didn't realize that the pattern, it said miss, so I was thinking like teen. No, it just meant regular sizing, so I probably could have went with a smaller size. That's fine. I'd rather have made it too big than too small. Like, this is such a cute dress, and I really do like it. It's just, I have nowhere to wear dresses. I am very much a hermit, and I go to work, I come home, I film my YouTube videos. I just don't want to wear this to get an ice cap. I mean, I could, but then also I'm like, what if you spill the ice cap on this and then you gotta wash it? Again, last summer, I probably would have worn this a bunch of times. This summer, I'm not really into dresses, but I do give this probably a 7 out of 10. I could have done a little bit better with the sizing, as well as maybe match up the pockets a little bit better. Maybe next year I'll get more wear out of this. For now, it's just not really my look. The next dress took me 3 years to make, and only because it wasn't like, oh, this is such a complex dress, it's gonna take me 3 years to like design and make it. I made it a year before the panorama hit, and I was making it at my old job, which I was the wardrobe person for a casino theater. Didn't do too much there, but anyways, I had spare time, so I'm like, I'm gonna make this dress. That was in, I think, the beginning of 2019 I was making this dress. And I forgot about it, and I decided I didn't want to do it anymore because I just didn't want to do it anymore. And then a year after that, I think everyone knows what happened. The whole panorama happened, and wasn't able to go back in there for 2 years, and then my friend was able to get back in there because we used to work together. She got me the rest of the dress. I just had no access for it for 2 years. That is this dress here. This is not my style of dress anymore either. So not only am I not into dresses, I'm not into this style of dress anymore. I bought the fabric because I think it was $5 a meter. I think the pattern itself was also probably $5 to $10, and I'm like, I'm going to attempt to make a dress. When I got it, which I do have a whole video of me finishing it, the bodice was done and the pieces were all cut out, but I had to put them all together. And then again, with my whole, I don't know what size I am, I had made it way too big. In the other video where I was fixing all my clothes, I went back and tried to make it a little bit smaller, but doing so, this disaster kind of happened in the back, and I did try to fix it. It was fixed for the video, and then when I was doing like the try on in the video, this kind of broke in the back, and then as I was taking it off, this ripped. It's back into the sewing pile, but this was my very first attempt at a dress, and for my sewing skills in 2019, making the bodice was very scary for me, but I did it, and I'm actually really impressed with how I did it back then. Nowadays, of course, I've learned a little bit more. I know what I like. For instance, I don't really like this style anymore. Here's the thing. I'm really bad at watching TV shows and being like, that's my style. I think back then I was watching, I think was it Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I think that's what it was, and it was like 1960s style, so I was really into that, really into the 1950s dresses. I thrifted a lot of dresses, and then I proceeded to never wear them. Part of me is like, well, I made it, so at least it was something, and I just didn't buy it and never wore it. I made it and never wore it, which I feel like is a little bit better. This I probably give a 5. Like, it's not a bad dress, and that's what the 5 is for, but there's still so many problems, and it's not even the style I like anymore. That's why it's a 5. On to the last dress. Now, this dress in my head was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna wear this dress every day this summer. This is gonna be my favorite item. I haven't worn it once. I know, I've made all these dresses and have never worn them out of the house. This dress. I had so many problems with it, and I think that's the problem is when I have difficulty sewing a dress, it kind of puts this sour taste in my mouth, like I never want to look at this ever again. I don't want to ever put it on again. It can go in the back of my closet forever and I'll be okay with it. And that's kind of what happened with this. I used the clay blouse pattern for the top, and then for the bottom I just used a really long rectangle, very similar to like the 3-tier dresses that I made, except for having 2 tiers. It's just one really long one. Where I went wrong is that I made the shirt, like the top part, the same size as like the clay blouse that I had. Like I had made it the same size, but then forgetting that it has to be into a dress, so I probably should have tailored it in a little bit more. And so when I first tried it on, I was swimming in it. It was just way too big for me. So I'm like, I'm just getting the flashbacks in my head about how awful that happened. This project is actually going really well. When am I gonna mess up? I messed up. I had to take the whole top apart, the whole top. I had made it smaller, and then I didn't try it on, and I cut the fabric of like the excess, and then I tried it on again, and it was like so flippin' tight. It was so tight. And I'm like, great, Michelle, if you wouldn't have cut off all that extra material, you could have just stitch stripped where you sewed and then reevaluated. But what I did is I cut strips of fabric like right here, and I attached them all the way up the side and into the arm. And then another thing is that I made this, I think, a little too high up. This should have been lowered a little bit. I think that would have made a difference with the fit. And then I added this little kind of like drawstring tie right here so that way I can cinch it in, but I still haven't worn it. Also, I was looking forever for fruit buttons, and fruit buttons just don't exist in my area. And I know I could order them on Amazon, but I don't need 300 fruit buttons for $30. I needed 3 buttons. These buttons are actually really cute, and they're like the only thing that I really like about this dress. I also think I made it too long. I make all these really long dresses, and now I'm like, I don't really like long dresses. I want shorter dresses. Just go like right above the knee. I think this would have been better if it was shorter, and maybe I'll do that, but not now. I think I give this probably a 6 out of 10. I really like the fabric choice, and I really like the buttons. It's just I haven't worn it. I feel like I should have sewed more this year, but overall, I'm just not really into sewing right now. I really just want to crochet. In the springtime, I'm like, okay, can't really do any crocheting. I mean, like, sure, I could make bags and hats and like cute little tops and stuff like that. But I'm like, you know what? I want to wear dresses, and I want to like, this again was pre-Stranger Things season 4 coming out. I don't know what happened. I think it was just all the projects just like one after another just weren't going that well. And that just was like, I don't feel like sewing right now. Maybe I'll get back into sewing, but after I made that Hellfire Club sweater, after I crocheted that, I'm just like, I want to crochet so many things. And I actually have a crochet project that I am gonna start today. Because why not? It's August 1st. That will do it for this video. If you are new to my channel, like sewing, crafting, crocheting, and thrifting, why not hit the subscribe button? You can also follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok, which is both Fancy Dinosaur Tea Party. I think that is it, so y'all have a good day now.